So the day is finally upon us. It is the release date for the highly anticipated Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon. Now, of course, the game has been super duper hyped up, and I am very excited to play it, which is why I will be doing a playthrough, so I hope that you guys will check that out later on today. But this video is really more so about pitting the two games against one another, Pokemon Sun versus Pokemon Moon. And what I wanted to ask you guys was, which game are you going to be getting, Sun or Moon? Or, of course, a lot of people are probably going to say, obviously, in the comments, like, both. That's the correct answer. But if you could only afford, let's say, to get one, which one would you side with, Pokemon Sun or Moon? And I wanted to go on ahead and discuss some of the differences between the two games and probably make things easier, well, maybe actually more difficult on you as far as deciding which version you want to go with. So first and foremost, from what I understand, there will be a very unique time difference between the two games where essentially Pokemon Sun will operate on the regular time that your DS is set to, or 3DS, sorry, is set to, whereas Pokemon Moon will apparently be adding 12 hours onto that clock to, I guess, emulate the idea that most of the time in Pokemon Moon, while you're playing during the day, it will be actually nighttime. So it mimics the whole idea of the moon being out more often than not, which I think is a pretty clever idea and works off the titles of the actual game. Apparently, there will also be some differences in terms of the totem Pokemon that will be in the games. So that's a pretty cool idea. And I think that again, will make the two games feel distinct and different, which, hey, that's a good thing in my book. So I think that is definitely great. But on top of all that, of course, the biggest difference between the two games is going to be the version exclusive Pokemon. And that's the one thing that I think is going to be the most divisive as far as which version you're going to end up going with. And if you don't go with version A or B, depending on which one you choose, like Sun or Moon, you need a friend that has the other one. Because if you want to get, let's say, Sandshrew or Vulpix in Alolan form, you're going to need both games, or at least access to both games. So let's get rocking and let's get rolling with the list. So first and foremost, Pokemon Moon. Speaking of the Alolan region, Alolan Sandshrew and Alolan Sandslash look absolutely awesome. I really do love the designs for both of these guys. They look incredibly awesome, and I cannot wait to add them to the team. Now, on top of that, on the Sun side of things, we have Alolan Vulpix and Alolan Ninetales representing the Sun side of things. So again, a pretty cool and beautiful design there as well. I'm not a huge fan of the Alolan Vulpix, I'm not gonna lie, but the Ninetales is pretty awesome looking for sure. Now, I do want to go on ahead before I continue on to the Pokemon from Sun and Moon, and we actually discuss those. I want to give you guys a heads up. This will obviously feature some spoilers as far as the characters and some of the Pokemon and the way that they look and so on and so forth. So you have been warned. If you do not want to be spoiled on anything, click away at this point in time. Now, if you are still here, let's get rocking and rolling. Oh, and of course, another warning. I am going to mispronounce the names. I'm well aware of that, but also we don't know how to pronounce all the names yet clearly because we haven't had like an anime or a way to hear all of the names being said. So yeah, I'm going to try to do my best at getting the pronunciations correctly. Nonetheless, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, we have Lycan Rock, who is a very cool kind of almost like dog-like Pokemon, maybe wolf. Obviously, the Sun version is a lot more lighter in design. Overall, a lot of the Pokemon Moon variations of Pokemon are a lot more kind of darker, obviously, more in the night, kind of like, you know, almost like villainous versus kind of like heroes versus villains, but not to that great of an extent because there's obviously, they do not want to create like a divisiveness between the Pokemon Moon players and the Pokemon Sun players, but you can definitely see a lot more of a darker theme for the Pokemon Moon side of things. So Lycan Rock or maybe it's Lycan Rock or Lycan Rose, I don't know. The midnight form is a lot more menacing than the midday form of that particular Pokemon, but it certainly is quite awesome. Then we move on to some of the ape/monkey Pokemon. We have Oranguru, who looks incredibly cool, and that makes me want to play Pokemon Moon just because of him, because he looks awesome. I really love the design of this Pokemon. Whereas Pokemon Sun has the Passimian. Very cool design as well. I am actually really wondering what the little ball is that he's using. Is that like a fruit, or is that part of his weapon arsenal, or is that a part of him? Who knows? But that definitely looks quite cool as well. Then we have Turtonator representing Pokemon Sun, who looks ridiculously funny, and I really, really love that design. Whereas Pokemon Moon has Drampa, the weird kind of never-ending story looking dragon, which is pretty cool looking for sure. So that's another addition or variation between the two different versions. Then we have the Ultra Beasts, which are these new type of Pokemon that we're going to be introduced to. So Ultra Beast number 2, I think, or 02, is Buzzwole on Sun, who looks like basically like a super swole, crazy, muscular mosquito. A mosquito that definitely does not skip the gym and does not skip leg day, arm day, any day. He definitely lifts, bro. Whereas the Pokemon Moon side of things has Beauty as the other variation of the Ultra Beast 2. Formosa, I think, is the name of the actual Pokemon, and it looks like some sort of like, again, kind of a bug-inspired Pokemon, but a lot more kind of like delicate and elegant in terms of its design. So that's definitely quite neat. Then we have Cortana representing Pokemon Sun, which is the Blade beast. And obviously Cortana, sounding a lot like Katana, looks like it's made out of nothing but swords and blades. So yeah, this thing is probably a very sharp Pokemon to be around, but it looks super duper crazy. And I think it's going to be a grass steel type. So a pretty cool actual combination of types as well. I definitely like that quite a bit. And then on the Pokemon Moon side of things, to counter that UB4, is the Blaster UB04. Celesteela, I think is how you pronounce that. And it's a weird bamboo looking Pokemon that looks quite cool as well. And I do like it quite a bit as well. It's definitely very weird looking and bizarre looking, and probably one of the least Pokemon looking Pokemon that we have gotten so far. But hey, that's another new addition, and we'll see how the actual Pokemon is once we get into the game. Now, of course, next up, we have the biggest difference between the two games is the kind of title Pokemon, the Pokemon that we see on the covers of the games. So Pokemon Sun has Solgaleo, I think is how, or maybe it's Solgaleo. I think it's probably Solgaleo, but that is the awesome lion type Pokemon, which is the reason why I'm going to be playing Pokemon Sun, is because of the lion type Pokemon, because I think he looks awesome and super duper cool. So this will be the legendary, obviously, that represents Pokemon Sun, whereas Pokemon Moon will be represented by the kind of dragon bat looking creature, the Lunala, which also looks cool. I really like the colors on it, but I'm not too big of a fan of the actual design, just personally speaking, that is. Now, next up, we have some differences of Pokemon that are just going to be exclusive to the each version, but they are Pokemon from previous generations. So let's run through them real quick here, and we'll take a look at them. All right, so on Pokemon Sun side of things, we have the entire evolution line of Garchomps. So you got Gible, Gabite, and Garchomp as well, whereas Pokemon Moon has Beldum, Metang, and Metagross. Then we move on over to Sun, where we have Goomy, Sliggoo, and Goodra. And Pokemon Moon counters that with Trapinch, Vibrava, and Flygon, which is super duper cool. Then right back on to Sun we go with Cranidos and Rampardos, whereas Pokemon Moon gets Shieldon and Bastiodon, who is awesome. I really love the design of that Pokemon. Then back on over to Sun we go with Tortuga and Caracosta, whereas Pokemon Moon gets Archen and Archeops. Or I think that's how you say that. Archeops, maybe? I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that was the right pronunciation there. Then we have Rufflet and Braviary for Pokemon Sun, and Volibee and Mandibuzz for Pokemon Moon. And we wrap things up with Cottony and Whimsicott on the Pokemon Sun side of things, whereas Petlil and Lilligant is representing Pokemon Moon. So there's quite the variation there between the two games for sure. A lot of key differences already spotted there, but I'm hoping to hear from you guys. Which Pokemon game will you be getting, Pokemon Sun or Moon? Please let me know down in the comments section below. Looking forward to hearing from all of you lovely, lovely, lovely folks. For me, I will be getting both versions, which I know I said at the beginning was kind of a cop-out answer, but I'll be playing Pokemon Moon kind of on my own time, just exploring things, while I'll be doing an actual Let's Play for Pokemon Sun. So if I had to choose just one, I would side with Pokemon Sun. That's just my personal opinion, though. I'm looking forward to hearing from all of you lovely folks as far as what you select. As always, have an absolutely fantastic day. I'll see you guys later, alligators. Bye-bye, everyone.